Yeah. So, and then we'll just do about a million takes.
You want the mic? No? No mic?
I've taken the attachment.
Where's the plug in? I'll just hold it.
So it plugs in. That's a good question. He did show me.
It's on the bottom.
There it is.
Right there. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. I'll probably go up a little bit further.
Alright, nice.
Maybe come forward. There's that mic.
Yep.
Edinburgh, a beautiful city, rich with culture and oozing with, what's the other word I'm looking for? Southern. What is the one? Culture and... Culture? What goes with culture? Quick, tell me. What goes with culture? Somebody tell me. History, that's the one. Oozing with history, and for 1 month every year, thousands upon thousands of people flock here to be part of one of the biggest and one of the best festivals in the world. How was that? Was that good? That was my voice. Was it very good documentary?
Refined.
You like that? Okay, right. Well, a bit quick. And so your name was?
Chaz.
Chaz. Hello, Chaz. Thank you for being my cameraman.
Oh, it's no problem.
Where did we meet, Chaz?
Oh, we met in a pub outside.
Yeah, just a pub, just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chaz, from Kansas.
Yes, from Kansas.
Excellent.
Midwest.
Excellent. Right. Well, enjoy your festival, Chaz.
Always, you as well.
Nice one. Oh, hello, people in the background waving. Hello. Yeah. Oh, hello, another person. Hello. The whole of Edinburgh is heaving during festival time. There's entertainment everywhere you turn, with something for everyone. From comedians to musicians, puppet shows to magicians, burlesque to Shakespeare on stilts, and pretty much everything in between. The festival fringe grows from strength to strength each year, and anyone who's anyone would have at some point headed to Edinburgh to showcase their talent. And I wanted to become one of them. But it's not time for that yet. First we need to go back to the beginning. Makeup? Do we have makeup?
Why don't you tell me what you do for a living, what you've done over the last couple of years, and what you want to do and why with this?
Okay.
So what have you been doing work-wise? You know, what do you do, basically?
Okay, well, basically, working in the security industry. I've been for...
Don't matter, just start with your full name.
Okay.
And then tell me you've been working in security and what you did, and basically just tell me a few of the jobs.
Yeah, but I don't want to go into that too much because I don't want to sort of draw attention to it. Well, it sounds like I'm boasting, you know. I don't want to. I'd rather just sort of say that, you know, I found myself at middle of 36, mid-30s in a job like so many other people, that in a job path that I'm just not happy with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Going in a direction I'm just not got no drive or passion for, and I just wanted to try and twist it, you know, try and change my direction in life and have a go at something else. But unfortunately, you kind of, like so many other people, you've got all your life commitments laid out in front of you, and it's just near impossible to make that leap. So I'm doing it in between. In between working away, I'm filling my time, and the plan is this year is to attempt to become a stand-up comedian. So yeah, that's this year's plan. So not wanting to do things in half, I've decided that this year I'm going to put my...
It's by halves, isn't it? Not in half.
Okay. So not wanting to do things by halves. By halves?
That's right.
So not wanting to do things in half. Fucking in halves.
By halves.
But... So not wanting to do things by halves, I've decided that this year I want to put on a one-man show at the Edinburgh Festival. So I've decided to document the... What fucking hell?
The whole process.
That's it. God, what it was.
I've decided to document the whole process.
So I've decided to document the whole process from the very beginning as a complete and utter novice, all the way up to performing at the Edinburgh, all the way up to the Edinburgh Fringe, where I'm going to attempt to be a stand-up comedian all on my own. So if you'd like to join me, no,
that's really good. Follow me on my journey. That's all you need.
Come on my journey. No, that's not right.
Go.
Wait a minute. Join me on my journey. Join me on my journey. So if you'd like to join me on my journey. So if you'd like to join me, fuck off. So
if you'd like to join me, fuck off. So if you'd like to join me on my journey.
Yes, I'd like to. If you'd like to. Right. What was the start again? So I've decided. Fucking
document the whole process.
How am I ever going to do that hour of stand-up? It's ridiculous. Can't even do one fucking line. Right. So I decided to quit while I'm Luckily, I didn't quit. Instead, I set out on an adventure of self-discovery. That was me nearly 2 years ago. What a fucking amateur. Did you hear the squeaky chair? What the fuck was I thinking? Now take a look at this. And action. You can tell a lot about a person by taking a look inside their garage. Let's have a look. What a mess. See, come closer. Just about, you can see the person you want to be. Look at all the sports equipment over there, all piled with stuff. The person you should be with the DIY stuff at the back. And then piled on top of all these hopes and dreams is real life. Just piled up. And so this is pretty much what it's like inside my brain. It's a mess. Back to the study. I mean, the fact that I've even got a study tells you a little bit about the person I'd like to be. But to be honest, I've not even read about 10% of the books on here. This is what I'd like to know. This is knowledge I'd like to absorb. This is the person I'd like to be. The reality's over here. Look at this desk. See, all just stuff piled on top again. It was Einstein who said, if a cluttered desk means a cluttered mind, what does that say of an empty desk? Well, cluttered desk, definitely. What's going on in there? Too much. I wanted to try and better myself. At one point I thought, I'll be a children's author. So I wrote my son a children's book. That didn't get any further. Then I thought, maybe a cartoonist. I'd be a cartoonist. So I drew cartoons and gave them to a newspaper. Nothing. I even thought maybe I'll be a graphic novelist. Didn't even get a page in before I gave up on that one. I was even taking notes of little jokes on the off chance I should try and do stand-up comedy one day. And it wasn't until I had some advice of a good friend of mine who said there was just too much going on. I had too much going on. I needed to focus on one thing. So I decided to focus all my energy on the stand-up, and that was how this whole project came about. It's about just focusing everything on one thing and just forgetting about the others, putting them off till another day, just focusing on one. Obviously I cheated because I filmed it, which kind of makes it two things in one, but you know, that's fine, that's acceptable. But yeah, so this is that story. This film started off being all about my attempt to become a stand-up comedian, but it's become so much more. I wanted it to be a brutally honest account, but of course deep down I expected it to be a huge success story. I don't think I'd have ever even dreamed of taking it on if I hadn't been so deluded about how great I was going to be. I told you I was going to be honest. Anyway, ultimately it wasn't a huge success. In fact, at times it was absolutely hideous. But determined and undeterred, I kept the cameras rolling well beyond Edinburgh. And 2 years on from when I first had the idea, I now feel that I've finally got something that I'm proud to share with you. So sit down, make yourself comfortable, grab some popcorn. In fact, grab the popcorn before you sit down, otherwise you'll be up and down like a yo-yo. I recommend the sweet and salted kind. And watch how I went from the bumbling idiot you saw before to the exceptionally awesome specimen of a man you now have before you. Did I mention arrogant and really, really big-headed as well? Before I could even think about Edinburgh, first I needed to learn how to become a stand-up comedian. And what better place to start this journey than to perform my first ever gig at the Comedy Store in London. The only way an amateur can perform at the Comedy Store in London is if you went to a competition called the King Gong Show. So that's what I did. To try out being a stand-up, you have to, the way to do it apparently is to try open spots, open mic nights. And so we found this amateur night at Comedy Store in London, where it's called the King Gong Show, and you go on and have to try and last 5 minutes without getting gonged off. So that's where we're headed today, 30th of January, and yeah, pretty scary. I've only got 5 minutes to worry about, but still pretty scary. Yeah. And soon green fields of Suffolk were replaced by the bright lights of the big city, and my comedy debut loomed ever closer. Unfortunately, or should I say fortunately, I had no idea that entering the King Gong Show was like being a lamb to the slaughter. Before going to the Comedy Store, I went round the corner to a place called the Comedy Pub. The walls are covered with pictures of comedy legends, comedians that I look up to and admire. As my heroes loomed down from their frames, I couldn't help but get a real sense of, holy shit, I am really out of my depth. And so, sooner than I would have hoped, with my nerves building, it was finally time to head to the Comedy Store to meet my fate. As I watched all the other acts get gonged off one by one, the reality started to sink in. Till finally it was my turn. A big thank you to Jared Christmas here for giving me such a big build-up. Thanks for that. And here it comes. Now remember, don't blink or you'll miss it.
Right, so let's start the applause, right? Like it's a whispering applause, like there. Right, then get a little bit louder, yeah? Get a little bit louder. A little bit louder. Get really fucking loud. Get really fucking loud. Kyle Mace!
Would it be okay to just...
It's okay.
Skeleton. Cruel bastards. Go easy, please. This is exciting, isn't it? Excited to be in London. I'm very excited. I'm not from London. Every time I think about London, off to London. I skipped the whole way here. I was at home yesterday thinking, should I drive to London or should I take the train to London? Fucking hell, skip! In hindsight, I wish I'd have taken the train, it would have been much easier. But you know, you live and learn, If I had to pick my favourite thing about London, it'd have to be all the historical statues. They're miserable. Shut up, you! I haven't even got started! Jesus Christ! All the historical statues, they're a miserable looking bunch, aren't they? You never see them smiling? We are! Fucking cruel bastards!
One card, two cards,
Who's got a
3 cards! Kyle Mace, 49 seconds.
Is that the quickest?
And there it was. As quick as that. And so, with my first ever stand-up attempt finished, I, with my tail between my legs, headed home. 49 seconds I think they said there, and that includes the build-up and the introduction. So not even 30 seconds of my material had now been tried in front of an audience. Only 59.5 minutes to go. This is not going to be as easy as I thought. Well, that didn't quite go to plan, did it? That was ridiculous. That was so brutal. I honestly thought I was going to come away from tonight with you know, some knowledge about my set, you know. Oh, that didn't work so well, but this bit worked really well. But no, didn't even give me a chance to talk. On a plus side, I did come away with the knowledge that being heckled is not as scary as I thought it would be. So, there you go, that's a plus. I think from now on, you have to go back to square one and start going to some amateur open mics and see where we get from there. This is the best suit in the world ever!